Breathing problem.
Good morning, students.
Good morning, sir.
Very good morning. Just inform to your friends regarding the class. So please post a message in your friends groups. So in the meantime, I will share my today's presentation. Okay, is it visible, my screen? Kanpistundama?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is the experimental kit available in our laboratory. So that is the operational amplifier trainer kit. Around some 8 to 10 kits are available in our laboratory. So all these are operational amplifier related kits, trainer kits. So in which there are 4 operational amplifier. This is the chip. It is a 10 pin chip. It is 10, not 10. It is just 8 pins. So it is an 8 pin chip operational amplifier. So the pin configuration, so which is generally symbolic diagram of the operational amplifier. So in which there are 4 op amps are available here. This is one op amp. Inside this type of chip is available. So it is in the back side. Their pins are available towards this board. So their pins we have to connect through this type of springs. So here, this is the inverting terminal, one inverting terminal, one non-inverting terminal, then at the pin number 6. So I will give you the pin configuration also. So this is the 8 pins, the role of each and every pin. This is the diagram. So in which we can give plus VCC minus VCC power supply. So dual voltage power supply is required for operational amplifier. You must need one dual voltage power supply, that is approximately plus 15 volts to minus 15. So pin number 7 is connected to plus 15 volts. So all op amps in the trainer, there is no need to connect any external power. Already the chips are connected with plus 15 and minus 15 volts power supply. There is no need of connecting any external power. Suppose if you have connected a chip on your breadboard, in that time you have to connect the power supply also. That is through pin number 7. We can apply plus 15 volts. So to pin number 4 minus 15 volts, plus 15 and minus 15. Say dual voltage power supply. So that voltage also. So normally plus 15 volts available at one place, another plus 15. Here, this plus and minus will be connected together. That can be taken as a ground. This negative terminal of the first voltage is acting as minus volts. Positive or second voltage is acting as a plus 15 volts, like that. So we can adjust it and connect like this. So normally in 741 op amp, pin number 2 represent the inverting terminal. Pin number 3 is representing the non-inverting terminal. We can apply the input voltages through these 2 pins only. So if it is inverting op amp, you can apply through this a signal function generator. Through function generator, you can apply the signal here. And at that time, you can connect this to 0. So that means it is connected to ground. So here there are various ground states. So this is the general configuration of the power supply. So here 2 volts. So there is the plus and minus of 2 are connected, from which we are getting the ground. That is a common ground. So in this direction it is a 1 voltage, that is negative, and this is positive. So like that, so we'll get. And here also there are potentiometers, various potentiometers are available. So there are 4 op amps available in one trainer kit. So because you can use any of the op amp. So for the convenience purpose, the terminals have given like this. This is 1, 2, 3. So 5, 6, 7. Then 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, like this. So for the convenient, different numbers he has given. So to isolate the op amp, but in general, the pin configuration is concerned, this is the general format. Out of 8, pin number 2 inverting, pin number 3 non-inverting, and these are for 1 and pin number 1 and 5. These are for offset voltages. That means offset means, suppose if you are not applying any voltage either to the inverting terminal or to the non-inverting terminal, you have okay. So you have not applied the signal at the inverting terminal or non-inverting terminal, but in that situation also, if there is any voltage generated, if any voltage generated at the output, so in that situation, that is the error voltage. Even though you are not applying any voltage, there is some voltage at the output. That means that is an unwanted voltage. So always try to nullify this voltage. Without signal, there is no signal expected. So therefore, to nullify this, you can connect some of the resistors at 1 and 5. Then you can just modify. So by making some changes in the resistances, so that this value will become 0. So you have to make this output voltage 0 without applying any signal either at the inverting terminal or at the non-inverting terminal. So this is one of the precaution. That is the purpose of 1 and 5. Normally, they will be in the nullified state only. If any unwanted voltages we are getting, so that situation you can nullify by connecting external resistors at the 1 and 5 terminals. Okay. So these 4 and 5 power supply requirements. 2 and 3, either we are operating it as a operating it as an inverting amplifier or non-inverting amplifier, or any of the application of the op amp, like the summing amplifier or the integrator or the differentiator, or it is used for any of the function generator, etc. So it is a trainer kit. Here there are various combinations of resistors are there. So here in the feedback, normal connection, we have a circuit diagram. In the circuit diagram, we need some additional extra resistors. So that is input resistors, some input resistors required, and feedback resistor is required. So those resistance values, so different values you have to take. That is for a unity feedback, that means the input resistance and output resistance, so that is equal, because the gain of the op amp, the gain of the operational amplifier is purely depending on the resistance values connected at the input and as well as the feedback resistance. Because in the inverting operational amplifier, the gain of the amplifier is minus RF by RI, where RF is the feedback resistance, RI is the input resistance. So therefore, which is purely depending on the resistance values. Therefore, what is the resistor you have connected at the feedback, and the resistor connected at the input terminal. Those terminals are very, very important. And also for the non-inverting configuration also, the gain of the amplifier, which is depending on 1 plus RF by RI. So 1 plus RF by RI. Here also the gain of the amplifier, it is purely depending on your resistance values. So it is a trainer kit. Here various components like various capacitors are available here at the right side. Various types of different values of resistors are available, capacitors, resistors, and also the power supplies are available, that is plus 15 volts, minus 15 volts, and also here it is 1 volt. All are inbuilt. So back side of this kit, we have various types of power sources, and also these are the ground pins. So all these are available in the spring format. Okay, and there is so this is the general way of connection. This diagram will give you. Here it is your op amp kit. So one function generator is required. This is a function generator, and here it is a dual slope CRO is required. For the operational amplifier, you have to check both input voltage as well as the output voltage, input as well as the output voltage for the, yeah. So this is your trainer kit. One function generator it is required to give the additional signal. So for example, sinusoidal wave. What is the waveform you have applied? So here this is a dual slope cathode ray oscilloscope CRO. So dual slope CRO. So what is the how much voltage you have applied, that you can find it through one channel, and what is the shape of your output after passing through the chip, what is the shape of your output, that you can connect it to the another channel. So dual channel, dual channel or dual slope cathode ray oscilloscope is required. So therefore that slope you have to connect your output. So one function generator required, this trainer kit required, and CRO also required. And suppose if you have connected the same circuit diagram with a breadboard, you have to require another source also, that is a dual voltage power supply also required. But the trainer kit is concerned, so the power supply is available in the kit itself. Therefore, there is no additional power supply is required. So all the things are available in our laboratory. So you have to visit the lab and you can identify and you can carry out the experiments. You have what is the things required for the laboratory? First, you have to design your circuit diagram. Circuit diagram is a very important thing. You have to design it properly, and what are the sizes, values of the components. What is the value of resistance? What is the value of the capacitance required? What are the how much voltages you require? All those things must be appear in your circuit diagram. Once you have designed the circuit diagram, all the components you can connect in the kit or on the breadboard. Okay. So this is the general things required for the op amp experiments. So as far as this fourth semester is concerned, maximum your experiments are on op amps only. Maybe you can carry out any function generation or characteristics of op amp, etc. So the one experiment will see it in today's class. Okay. So this is another model. So the first one is with the springs. This is with the spring. So spring means you can just bend it and you can insert your the connecting wires. Just insert your connecting wires. So wherever you want a contact, suppose here you want to contact, you take one wire and one side of the wire you can connect here and another side you can connect whatever the value you require. So one end of the resistor. Other end you may connect it to the ground or some of the other place. So wherever you you have that contact in your circuit, based on that you have to connect. This is spring model. And if we have available some of the pin, that is connecting pins are available, small pins. So through that pins also directly both bidirectional pins. So one side pin you can connect here, other side you can connect like this. So this is for the inverting configuration. So all the outputs also here, the voltage, everything is connected in the form of pins. So small pin connectors. So through small pin connectors, you have to connect in this. This is also here also 4 op amps available. 4 different op amps available. Here it is 1 op amp, another op amps. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 op amps are available. You can here it is only the. This is a complete detailed circuit diagram of your op amp. This is a chip available. So it is an 8-pin IC. So in which the role of each and every pin. So here only 1 and 5 are used for the adjustment of the input and output offset voltages. 4 and 7 are used for the power supply connections, where 7 is for plus VCC, 4 is for minus VCC. 2 is inverting terminal, 3 is non-inverting. So therefore, 1, 2, 3, 4, here it is 5, 6, and 7. So 8th pin is unused pin. So that is not used for any purpose. So because of the connection, we need 8 pins. So for the balancing purpose only. So that pin is unused pin in the 741 op amp. So it is a complete circuit diagram 741. This is 741. So all the pins. So here it is a some oval shape is there. This shape. So from this shape always you can keep at the left side, and here it is the pin number 1. Numbering is like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is the general configuration. Any pins, always you can keep this side, this type of shape at the left side, and count the numbering of the pins from this side onwards. So 1, 2, 3, then come to this place like this. So this is the general way of representation of the pins. So it is a pin configuration. So like this, it's a dual slope CRO. So there are two signals are appearing. One signal for the input voltage, another signal is for the output voltage. So you can connect the channels like this through cable. There are cables available. Through the cable, this is one channel you can connect. So input from the function generator to this you can connect. So the corresponding voltage is appearing here. Through the output to through connect here. This is second channel, and the second channel output is appearing like this. So this is inverting configuration. So that means the output appear like this. It is exactly inversely proportional to this. That is, there is a 90 degrees phase. If it is down, that means here it is up. So 90 degrees, inverting operational amplifier, the signal is appearing like this. So in the case of non-inverting, both are in phase. There is no phase difference in the non-inverting amplifier. So that is same side. So whatever the signal you have applied, the output also in the same phase. Now you can find the frequency. If you want to find the frequency, so this is one peak and this is another peak. You have to find out the length of this place, multiplied by here the timer. This is a time knob. It is a time knob. So here it is a multiplication factor is there. So wherever this knob is there, that factor you have to multiply. That gives you whether it is in seconds or milliseconds or microseconds. Here value also will be mentioned in the CRO. So peak to peak length multiplied by this value will give you the time period. So inverse of the time period will give you the frequency. So that is the measurement, how to measure the frequency. The frequency can be measured. Frequency So frequency can be measured like this. It's not moving. Oh. One minute. So like this, you can measure the frequency. In the same way, the voltage is also you can measure from the CRO itself only. That is the in the y-axis. So that is the what is the lowest level. So here it is the length between the lowest level to the highest level. Lowest level to the highest level. That is a length that multiplied by here it is 2 channels. If you are measuring your voltage, you are measuring your voltage in the channel 1. So this amplitude multiplied by here it is factor. Multiplication factor is available here. So that multiplication factor you can multiply gives in the millivolts or volts. So this y-axis length. So x-axis means it is a time period. Y-axis means it is this length multiplied by this factor that gives the voltage. In the same way here also the y-axis length peak to this high up top part divided by bottom part, top part and bottom part. So that is a length. That length multiplied by here it is a multiplication factor. So by using this you can measure the time period from frequency. Okay. Now your dual power supply connection of this, how we can give the plus VCC and minus. This is one voltage source and this is another voltage source. This is a current source, sorry. So this is the voltage source. So multiplier, it is a the multimeter. So in the multimeter, you will find out the readings. So this reading is the voltage, and here it is the current. You can measure the voltage and currents like this. So 9.99 volts. So DC voltage you can apply. So this is a multimeter. So we will see one experiment. So let us take the aim of the experiment. Non-inverting amplifier. Let us find out. Construct op amp using IC 741. And the gain, you have to determine the gain of the amplifier and its frequency response. So that means how the gain changing with by changing the frequency. So you can change the frequency. At every frequency you can note down the gain, output gain as well as the input gain, because the input also there is chance of varying because the voltages are the frequency dependent voltages here. The voltages are frequency dependent. So therefore you have to find out both output as well as input. Suppose if there is no variation observed in the input voltage, it's fine. So simply you have to take one value only. So that is the applied input voltage. Okay. So these are the aim of the experiment for any this thing, whether it is the non-inverting op amp or the inverting op amp. The gain is very, very important. And the gain is not constant in all the ranges of frequencies. So some frequency ranges, the gain is one value, and another frequency values maybe some different. So therefore, we have to identify in which range the suitable frequency. That is the operation in which frequency ranges it will be used as an amplifier. So therefore, you have to identify, that is the need of frequency response. By changing the frequency, at what frequency ranges it is giving a constant gain. So to which frequency, from which to which. So maybe in some cases there is systematically slowly increasing and then constant gain. Some cases for non-inverting, initially it's a constant gain, but you are applying higher and higher frequencies. Slowly the gain will be decreased. Okay, how it is decreasing, that also we have to see. So this is the general configuration by using the breadboard. If you are using the breadboard, this is a chip. Through this chip, you can connect resistors and capacitors. Here the visibility is not good. I will see we see one more kit. So by using the chip, you can connect like this. For this, you can apply a dual voltage power supply. So plus VCC, minus VCC and ground, 3 terminals. So plus VCC at the top, ground is at the bottom, and these are the resistors, various resistors. So the connections were made like this. This is the configuration. For the non-inverting, this is the inverting pin, and here it is the non-inverting pin. The inverting is connected to ground. So this is directly connected to ground through the input resistance Ri. And this is a feedback resistance from 6 to this, it's a feedback. So because the non-inverting configuration, we can apply the signal at the non-inverting terminal. So it's a function generator. So here we can apply a signal waveform. So it's a signal generator. You can connect at the terminal 3, and at terminal 6 you can connect to the output. So that is to the CR1. So for example, gain. So RF and RI based on the values. So based on the values. So RF is 1 kilo ohm and RI is 1 kilo ohm for one case. So different values you can connect here. It's a variable. First you can adjust for 1 kilo ohm. Second trial you can adjust it to 2.2 kilo ohm. Third trial you can adjust it to 3.3 and 10 kilo ohm. Finally you can 10 kilo ohm. So for different values you can repeat the experiment. So for 1 kilo ohm, what is the gain? Then for 3.3, for 2.2, for 10 kilo ohms, for all the different feedback resistance values, you can do the experiment. Here, this signal, that is the applied signal, you can vary the frequency, and each time you can find the gain from the CRO, that is output voltage. What is the output voltage at a particular frequency? What is the input voltage? So output by input is the gain. So here it is a tabular form we have. Yeah, here it is very clear. This is your op amp. Okay, so in this op amp, the configuration of breadboard also you can observe. So these are the 5 holes are there. So these are connected vertically. These 5 lines are vertically connected. So there is no connection between horizontal. There is no horizontal connection. So this pin is there means this pin can be connected through any of these 4 pins. This another pin is any of these 4 pins. So like this. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pins are there. So whatever based on this diagram. So pin number 2 through one resistor and through ground. So that is pin number 2. Where is pin number 2? Somewhere here. So this pin, this wire to the one of the resistor here, and from here it is connected to the ground. So like that, you can make the connections. After connections, you can observe the signal. So now you can see this is the input voltage of the. Oh, we have only few minutes left. This is the input voltage, and here it is the output voltage. Input voltage here exactly they are in the horizontal, but by making it into a PDF format, they are appearing like some angle, twisted angle, but actually they are appeared in the horizontal format only. Here the gain is more. This is the input voltage, and here it is the output voltage. The gain appearing like this. The gain is, that is this output voltage, the peak to peak, this length multiplied by the channel factor, that is the voltage of the output. Here also input voltage you can find out. You can find the ratio of these two. Okay, so this is the output voltage. Here this is the time factor, the time multiplier. So this is a function generator. It's a modern function generator. The frequencies appeared in the digital format also. So you can slowly change your frequency. This frequency value will be depending on the factors. So this value multiplied by here, this gives you various these keys are there. Okay, so this is in the some heads, approximately 100 heads, 1 kilohertz, 10 kilohertz. So like this, so 2 megahertz frequency, up to 2 megahertz frequency you can apply. So this value multiplied by, so therefore you are, this is different ranges. So one knob, if you are pressing one button, that is in one frequency range. Pressing another button little higher, pressing another button little higher, like that. Okay, then what type of signal you are applying, that is a sinusoidal waveform you have to apply. So here it is a square wave, sinusoidal wave, and triangular. So triangular wave. So three types of waves it will produce. Function generator will produce three different types of waveforms. That is the sinusoidal waveform, square wave, as well as the triangular wave. So which type of wave you are applying? Based on that you can press. So press this button, particular button. So this button is related to the sinusoidal waveform, and this in the range 10 kilohertz frequency range. So therefore in the 10 kilohertz you can adjust this knob, frequency variable, you can just rotate the knob. So that is to set the frequency to increase or decrement. So slowly it will come down, and by moving it anti-clockwise, it will come down. If it is in the clockwise, it will move to the increasing the frequency. So that is up to maximum frequency is 10 kilohertz. You can set some value, that is 5.146 kilohertz. This is the frequency. You can apply the 5.146 kilohertz. So for that particular frequency, the applied signal is appearing like this. Now slowly increase the frequency. So by increasing the frequency, so this is at that particular frequency 5.147. That is the frequency. The signal shape is like this. So this is the tabular form. You have to find out the values. That is what is the feedback resistance you have applied. What is the feedback resistance? Whether it is the 1 kilo ohm or 2.2 kilo ohm or 3.3 kilo ohm or 10 kilo ohms. So that is feedback. And what is the applied input voltage? What is the obtained output voltage? Applied input, obtained output voltage. So the ratio you can find out. So that is V0 by Vi. V0 by Vi, that is direct voltage by this. So this is from the experiment. But theoretical value of the gain can be determined by these resistance values. So here it is RF by Ri. So RF by Ri, input resistor you can connect it to 1 kilo ohm, and these are the output values. Based on that, 1 plus RF by Ri. So 10 by 1 plus 1, that is approximately 11. The gain is 11. So without any units, because the gain is the ratio of the same type of signals, therefore there is no units for the gain. Just factor you will get. So this is the gain value for different feedback resistors. You can find out the gain and the frequency response. The gain, suppose if you are applying more and more resistance, so the gain factor will be a linear variation. For more feedback, more gain. More feedback, more gain, like this. So it's a linear relationship we will get. Linear relationship. And here the frequency response. So that is, keep one feedback resistance, slowly you can increase the frequency. So here it is a slowly increase the frequency. So initially the gain is the maximum. Gain is maximum. So it is constant up to certain frequency. Constant up to certain frequency, that is slowly from 100 hertz, 200 hertz, 300, 400, 500, 1000. That means 1 kilohertz. Next we can change it to 2 kilohertz, 3 kilohertz, 4 kilohertz, up to 10 kilohertz. Then each next time is 20 kilohertz, 30 kilohertz, 40 kilohertz. So it is a semi-logarithmic graph you have to take. Always you can take the frequency graph, that is a semi-logarithmic graph. You have to use, because the frequency ranges are in that range, that is 100, 200, 1000. Next time you may not go 1100. So you can directly go to kilohertz changes, that is 1K, 2K, 3K, 10K. Next time you may not go to 11K. So directly go to 20K, 30K, multiples of 10. Each time multiples of 10. So that is called as a semi-logarithmic graph. You can draw your frequency versus gain response in the semi-logarithmic graph. So your graph is obtained like this. At higher and higher frequencies, slowly it starts reducing. And here, your maximum gain is, let us assume 10. You can find out the 1 by root 2. 1 by root 2 of that gain. So approximately 7.7, let us assume. 7.7 is somewhere here. You can draw a horizontal graph at the this one. This is called as RMS frequency. So it will touch at a certain point on the frequency graph. So therefore, up to this, it is a usable frequency. And above this, there is a sudden hike in the gain. So that is sudden sharp reduction in the gain. Sharp reduction in the gain. So therefore, this region we cannot use. So the application of op amp is used up to that frequency, that is generally called as a upper cutoff frequency. Cutoff frequency, it is called as a cutoff. Okay. So in this up to this range you can use. So from these graphs you have to study different values. For you can increase the frequency 100, 200, 300 as you can write your tables. So input voltage, output voltage, and gain. So frequency versus gain plot you have to draw. Frequency versus gain plot. So finally your graph is appearing like this. So you can see this is at higher frequencies still increasing. This value will be reduced. So the reduced value, for example, 1.728 megahertz, almost it is reduced like this. So output voltage is small, very small now. So this is the general appearance. So it is regressing. So these are the 3 parameters you have to measure. So that is the, what is the gain, then bandwidth from the graph, gain bandwidth, gain multiplied by the bandwidth, gain multiplied by the bandwidth. So with this I have to conclude my today's class. Few seconds.